homosexual. No wonder he needed a Jesuit confessor. As we were going through Versailles, we were told that in this room, this was the bed of Louis, and as the heads of state came in each morning to talk over state matters, he would grab one of them, pull them in bed, and pull the curtain around them, and after sodomy was over, they would continue the state talks. And his confessor was a Jesuit. The Jesuits got used to the wealth of the world. They lived in luxurious palaces like this, being confessors to the priests and kings, and they became the wealthiest group in the world. Through their influence in France, one of the most horrible massacres that took place in history took place. Publicly, the church appeared to be uniting with the Protestants, just as they are today, friends. And secretly, they planned the slaughter in 1572, where 25,000 Huguenots alone were slaughtered in Paris and over 65,000 throughout France. Because of this, the governments recognized the danger of the Jesuit order, and they began to be expulsed from various countries of this world. They were kicked out of Paris. They were kicked out of Portugal, where they had gained tremendous power. They were removed from Spain. The governments realized that the wars and the troubles were being caused by the Jesuits. And now the Jesuit order went through all the terrors of the Inquisition. It was at this time in history that the Jesuits were taken, and they were thrown in prison. They were thrown on ships and forced to stay on these ships without toilet facilities until disease destroyed their bodies and racked their souls. The Jesuit order's power, the secret of its power, is in its structure. One man stands as all-powerful at the head of it. The provincial is a man that is all-powerful within his area, submitting to the general, and then the superiors are in control of the Jesuit individuals. But at any time they can go around their superiors to the one above him, keeping a check and balance situation. The local, yokel, individual Jesuit is part of an elaborate system of espionage, and they report on each other too, keeping a balance. They report to their superiors, who in turn report weekly to the provincial. Tremendous bodies of knowledge go into the provincial from all over their provinces. The provincials give a summary report monthly to the general, but superiors can go around their provincial, and thus a check and balance is kept all the way to the top. Even the general himself is subject to a council of 6 elected by the general congregation. 4 are elected from 4 different countries. One as an advisor and a military commander, and the other is the general's confessor. One or the other of the latter two must be with him at all times. Occult Theocracy by Lady Queensborough, page 309 and 310. This man has held more power in this world than any other human being alive. Gurry's Doctrine of the Jesuits, we read, the general has usually stood towards the Pope, much as a powerful grand feudatory lord of the Middle Ages did towards a weak titular Lord Paramount, or perhaps as a captain of a splendid host of free champions, as he did towards a potentate with whom he chose to take temporary and precarious service. And the shrewd Roman populace have long shown their recognition of this fact by styling these two great personages the White Pope and the Black Pope. In truth, the society has never from the very first obeyed the Pope whenever its will and his happen to run counter to each other. In the book The Fiery Jesuits, we read about the power again. Jesuit power arrived to such an height that when the Italian di Acquaviva came to be Father General, he gave his hand to be kissed as the Pope is toe. In their constitution, the Father General is called Dei Legatus, or Christi Vicarius, one of which, having the title, regarded not the Pope's message, though sent to him by 2 cardinals, enjoining everyone in the society to acknowledge Christ present in their general. The Jesuits tell us our Father General, as all know, governs Rome itself and the Popedom. We make war at our pleasure between one prince and another, between a prince and his subjects, usurp dominion over cities and countries, fearing no discovery of our actions, since our commerce is chiefly with great men. We know every public secret, and can in a singular way dispatch heretics and enemies of the Roman court. The view of Ignatius is so great that in the book Fiery Jesuits we read that in the University of Krakow in 1627, Ignatius is portrayed as holding the world in his hands and fire streaming forth from his heart with his motto, "I came to send fire into the world." And look at this blasphemy from a sermon by F. Doza, J.S., quoted in the Fiery Jesuits, "In these last days God hath spoken to us by His Son, Ignatius, whom He hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also He made the worlds." What do these people believe about Ignatius anyway? The grand rule of the order is that an inferior readily to declare his assent and consent to a superior in active obedience when he says the snow is black or the crow is white. To yield perfect, absolute, and unlimited obedience to him they call Christ's vicar. By the abdication of their own will and judgment, they are the staff in the old man's hands. We should always be ready to accept this principle. I will believe that the white that I see is black if the hierarchical church defines it. The Spiritual Exercises of Ignatius here, page 141. This is the order of induction in the Jesuit system. First those studying to enter the order, the novices. Then the scholastics, the great teachers, the temporal ruling over the houses and the schools, and the coadjutors finally, the agents that carry out the responsibility of aiding in the world projects. Then, and only then, this mass of Jesuits can be initiated into the actual order of the Jesuits, the profess of the three vows and the profess of the four vows. Finally, after a lifetime of total commitment to this monstrous system, they could be initiated, very few have ever made it, into the mysteries of the Jesuit order. What are those mysteries? I think we're going to find out tonight, folks. The ceremony of induction of the Jesuit is in the Library of Congress, and the card is 6643354. It's an unbelievable admission to the world of what goes on in the initiation of a Jesuit into the profess. The Jesuit oath, "My son, you have been taught to act as dissembler among the Roman Catholics, to be a Roman Catholic, and to be a spy even among your own brethren, to believe no man, to trust no man, among the Reformers to be a Reformer, among the Huguenots to be a Huguenot, among the Calvinists to be a Calvinist, among the Protestants generally, be a Protestant." And obtaining their confidence to seek to speak from their pulpits, and to denounce with all vehemence in your nature our holy religion and the Pope, and even to descend so low as to become a Jew among the Jews, that you might be enabled to gather together all information for the benefit of your order as a faithful soldier of the Pope. You have been taught to insidiously plant the seeds of jealousy and hatred between states that were at peace, and incite them to deeds of blood, involving them in war with each other, and to create revolutions and civil wars in communities, provinces, and countries that were independent and prosperous, cultivating the arts and the sciences, enjoying the blessing of peace. To take sides with the combatants, and to act secretly in concert with your brother Jesuit, who might be engaged on the other side, but openly opposed to that with which you might be connected, only that the church might be the gainer in the end, and the conditions fixed in the treaties for peace, and that the end justifies the means. You have been taught your duties as a spy to gather all statistics, facts, and information in your power from every source, to ingratiate yourself into the confidence of the family circle of the Protestants and heretics of every class and character, as well as that of the merchant, the banker, the lawyer, among the schools and universities, in parliaments and legislatures, and in the judiciaries and councils of state, and to be all things to all men for the Pope's sake, whose servants we are unto death. You have received all your instructions heretofore as a novice, a neophyte, and have served as a coadjutor, confessor, and priest. But you have not yet been invested with all that is necessary to command in the army of Loyola in the service of the Pope. You must serve the proper time as the instrument and executioner, as directed by your superiors. For none can command here who has not consecrated his labor with the blood of the heretic. For without the shedding of blood no man can be saved. Therefore, to fit yourself for your work and make your own salvation sure, you will, in addition to your former oath of obedience to your order and allegiance to the Pope, repeat after me. I promise and declare that I will, when opportunity presents, make and wage relentless war secretly or openly, against all heretics, Protestants, liberals, as I am directed to do, to extirpate and exterminate them from the face of the whole earth, and that I will spare neither age, sex, condition, and that I will hang, burn, waste, boil, flay, strangle, bury alive these infamous heretics, rip up the stomachs and wombs of their women, and crush their infants' heads against the walls, in order to annihilate for